Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We are talking about the Hanged Man in this video and the meanings of the Hanged Man and also of the Hanged Man reverse. As usual, we will start by looking at the Rider-Waite card, and then we will add other cards as well so you can get an idea of other flavors and other characteristics that other decks may bring to the table. Of course, all I have is a small sampling of some of the other decks that are available out there, but hopefully it'll give you a little bit of an idea about how flavors can be achieved. If you have not watched my video about reading the cards psychically, a beginner's guide or something like that, I will put something on the end of this video to where you can click on that and see that. That's going to be really important to help you understand about the different flavors of the decks. And really it gives you a jump start on being able to read a deck when you just first pick it up. So let's start by looking at the Rider-Waite. I always start with this one because it is basically the deck that is the industry standard. So we've got the Hanged Man showing up here, and obviously he's hanging by 1 foot. He is in a completely different position than usual, head down, foot up. This is not something where somebody is trying to punish him. This is not some kind of weird take on the crucifixion at all. This is something that this person is doing so that they can get a different perspective on something that they're trying to work out in their lives. So some kind of situation that they're trying to make sense of, they're trying to understand better so that they can figure out how they want to move forward. So a lot of times this will be a situation that's going on in your life that, has you a little bit paralyzed because you're not sure how to move forward and have results that you can live with or that you're okay with. So this is taking that time to think things over, to meditate, to look at things literally from a different perspective than what you have been seeing them so that you can find a solution in this situation. Now, this card can also mean hanging around, hanging out, waiting, letting things unfold to see what may happen. So there's a few different meanings that can come up pretty easily for this card given the context. And so we're just going to go on and look at some of the other cards and get some other flavors. So here is the Druidcraft Tarot version of the Hanged Man. And this talks about, you can see that there's a field behind him that has been sort of harvested but hasn't been completed. This is, stopping in the middle, sorting something out. There's something definitely going on that he's trying to figure out. Now he looks pretty grounded. We've got this tree behind him. We've got the elderberries hanging off of that tree. Elderberries symbolize healing. We've got, it looks like raspberries or blackberries in the forefront of this card. So this is pretty well grounded. Also, there's an abundance. There's an abundance of medicinal things, good medicine. There's also an abundance of wealth. When we look at that field, it looks like it's doing pretty well. So this is not talking about the idea of poverty slowing you down. This is not talking about not having enough money to do something, not having enough abundance to do something. This is talking about putting a hold on something while you get that different perspective, like we talked about with this last card. Once again, we have the Hanged Man here. He looks more like a gymnast or a, what do you call that? Maybe like a trapeze artist type of thing, where this is almost looking like a dance with him. So this is really, just biding time, just waiting to see. And if you notice here, there's even thorns on some of these trees. And so this is being careful not to rely on those around you for your decision making, being careful to make your own decision so as to avoid anything that might come up as a problem if you rely on somebody else making a decision for you. And this is also, I think that the thorny trees here basically represent the idea that so far all this person has come up with are ideas that really have some serious side effects that they're not very happy with. And so as this person hangs in this different perspective, what he's hoping to see is something different that would be going on. Now what's interesting here, and I don't think I'd really noticed it, I never really have compared the cards until I started doing these videos, but you can see on this card there's just a little tiny bit of water right there. On this card there's a whole lot of water on the bottom of the Hanged Man, and Rider-Waite, no water showing up there at all. So this card, because it has so much more water and it looks really deep, tells me that whatever this is that has this person stumped is something that is really, there's a lot of emotion tied to it. It's something that he feels very emotional about as well. Okay? Now, la da 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 da. Hanged Man once again. This is a little bit of an interesting version with all the flowers sort of falling from above. They're not actually on a vine, which to me makes them look like they're in motion. So I don't know what this would be. Is this somebody hanging in fall and all these blooms are falling off? Usually blooms don't fall off in the fall. That part of it kind of has me stumped. I'm not exactly sure how I would read that unless something just came to me psychically as I was looking at it. Those mean a lot more to me when this card is actually in reverse, and we'll get to that later. But this is somebody who is, getting that different perspective, taking the time to really think things through so that they have that bigger perspective and can understand what's a good way to move forward. Hanged Man in the Golden Wheel Tarot looks a lot more watery than some of the others. And so once again, water having to do with emotion, this can say that, this person is really stumped because of all the emotions going on. They feel like they're being submerged in emotion, and it's making things really hard for them to think through in a logical type of way. And so they're in here trying to get some kind of different perspective because their emotions may have them all hung up. Okay. La da 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 da. Hanged Man in the Good Tarot does look a little bit angelic with those wings. Once again, we've got this sun/moon behind this person. I'm not sure what it really is depicting in this picture. Which, in this deck, this is the second card we've come to so far that, I think it was Justice, where right side up it looked like the sun and upside down it looked like the moon to me. Either way, this disc in the sky behind the person, this to me really talks about trying to get some clarity, and I'm gonna go with that this is the moon because the moon does talk about reflection. So let's say that this is the moon behind this person, and they're really doing a lot of reflection to get some clarity. Moon also has to do with emotions. To me, I think of the moon as more of emotions that may not be quite as rational as what we would like. The moon to me kind of exaggerates emotion. So, this is this person trying to get away from the exaggerated emotions around a situation and look at something from a more detached or a different perspective so that they can find their solution. All right, so next we have the Chrysalis Tarot. And for those of you who have watched a lot of these videos in this series, you know that the Chrysalis does have a very different take on quite a few of the cards. This they have labeled the Celtic Owl or the Celtic Owl, whichever pronunciation suits your fancy there. With the owl, we do talk about wisdom, and we see also, there's definitely a highlight to his crown chakra there. So this is talking about taking some time to communicate with the divine to untangle some type of mess. Look at that big tangle that this poor owl is working on. So untangling some kind of mess with help of the divine. And a lot of times the Hanged Man does talk about meditation, so that's a very apt representation. Also, I think it's interesting, by the way, before I really put that card down, that we see the owl, and this is a setting at night, which is when owls are normally awake. That's their normal operating hours, right? So excuse me for a second. I'll be right back. I apologize for the interruption. Let's look at two more cards for Justice. This one actually is called Vision. This is in the Medicine Woman Tarot. And you can see that this, or excuse me, is this Justice? No, this is the Hanged Man. So sorry. So Vision. So what we're looking at here is this is a person who is looking in a reflecting pool. And this is something that a lot of people who are into scrying would do. They would look into still waters to see visions, to develop their clairvoyancy, or maybe that was just the way that they operated in their clairvoyancy. So this is, looking at it from a different perspective, looking at it from spirit perspective if this person is scrying, or, just looking, this could be even construed as somebody just looking at their body and getting a different perspective on it as looking at it through the ripples. So really all about pulling down a different perspective whenever you look at this card and, adjusting the vision so that you can see things in a different way, see things from a different light. Now, this is a card that is the closest thing to the Hangman in the Wildwood Tarot. I don't know that I really consider it that close to the Hanged Man at all, to be honest with you. It's called the Mirror, and to me this has always been a card that talks about trying to find your place in life. And it usually comes up in one of two areas. It usually comes up in relationship area, especially romantic, or it comes up in career or job situation. So if this is a relationship, then this card coming up straight up like this means that somebody is trying to figure out what kind of relationship they actually want, what would be most comfortable for them, what is it that, is a priority for them in relationships. So they're trying to figure out what type of relationship they would like, basically, bottom line. And they are also looking at and evaluating what is it they bring to the table as far as relationships. What do they have to offer? So when this card comes up, that's what that tells me about somebody if we're looking at relationship situations. Now, if we're looking at work situations, what this tells me is that this person is looking for some type of new position or industry that they could be happy in. They're looking for what their strengths are that they want to plug in and be paid for in the world, as well as what industry or what business structure or what company would really appreciate them to the point of paying them well for the things that they bring to the table, the skills and abilities that they have. So this is really looking for your place in life. We have this person who is floating in the boat that's really, it's a body. It's somebody that is, it symbolizes somebody that is crossing over into something different. And this really looks at, where can I cross over into something different that is still going to be good, still going to be productive, where I'm going to be compensated for my skills and my abilities, or where I'm going to be appreciated for what I bring to the table as far as relationship-wise. Okay? So, I'm going to take a little break because my furnace is getting ready to kick on, and I'll be back when it's off, and we'll look at some more cards. Okay, so now let's take a peek at the Hanged Man reverse this time. So this is what the Hanged Man in reverse looks like. And to me, he looks like he's somebody who might be in the middle of dancing an Irish jig. He's got his hands behind his back, one leg definitely up, looks like it's ready to do, well, it's doing a back kick anyway, if not a forward kick. So to me, I always take this as whatever it is that this person had to think about, had to consider, had to meditate about, had to find out some clarity about how to move forward with that situation, they have figured out that answer. They found the answer. It's come to them through meditation. Now they can move forward, and now they can move forward with some consequences that they are fine with, not anything that is prickly or hard to deal with. And so this almost to me looks like a person dancing. They're very happy that they have found this solution when we've got the Hanged Man in reverse. Now this one is one that basically, I don't know that I necessarily see him as happy. We still have him sort of tied around the waist in a very obvious way, or around the ribs. And so but I do feel like he is moving forward. He has found an answer, and I think that he's ready to get down out of that tree when he comes up in reverse. Here is One of my favorite Hanged Man in reverse. And remember, I told you I was that these flowers that are mid-air has significance to me, more significance in reverse than they do right side up. To me, this looks like somebody who is putting on a public performance, who is dancing their heart out, and these flowers are being thrown at them from below the stage. To me, this is somebody who is doing a fantastic job with his dance. So this is somebody who has definitely found his solution, and even though it might have been hard to find that solution, now that they've found this solution, very happy about the solution. It's a really good thing. It's something that causes joy. So, Hanged Man in reverse, once again, we see this person coming up out of the water, actually, whenever it's in reverse. Head is facing upwards whenever the card is held upside down. So this person definitely has figured out whatever it is they need to figure out. They're coming up out of these deep emotions and coming up for air and getting ready to take that action that they need to take to move forward in whatever this emotional situation was. Hanged Man, once again, I get the impression of dancing on this. I feel like this is more of a ballet rather than an Irish jig type of dance. But still, this is something that is a thing of grace, a thing of beauty. So this tells me that, you know, not only has the person found the solution that they're looking for, their solution that they're looking for is one that is very graceful and gracious as they move forward. Okay, getting into some of, well, let's look at this last one, this other one again before we get into the more different ones. Hanged Man once again. And once again, this seems more like ballerina type stuff for me, or I don't know what you call a male that does ballet. Anyway, it seems more like a dance of ballet than anything else here. And so once again, finding a solution that is graceful and gracious. And also in this picture, you know, we've got the washboard abs. This person is very fit. This is also a solution that probably requires some strength going forward, as implied by this particular card. Okay, so getting into some of the more unusual versions of this. Hanged Man, Celtic Owl, basically same thing. Whenever I see this in reverse, I feel like all of these knots have sort of fallen out. So somebody has worked out the solution to all this big tangled up mess, and they're able to move forward now in a productive way and being able to use all this stuff that's tangled together for something much more productive than what it was before. And Vision card in reverse. Now to me, when I look at this card in reverse, this kind of says to me that the reflection in the water is passing along a message to the person who's actually in the body, the physical, tangible body. It almost says, to me, it intimates, you know, speaking to. So this could be, for me, this could be somebody who has looked into their inner self, into their inner child, into their intuition, into what Spirit has to say, by looking into themselves more deeply to get this solution. And they have the solution now. They've heard the solution from this inner being, this reflection of themselves. By reflecting, they've heard the solution, and now they're ready to get up away from this water and move forward into action. All right, so this is the Wildwood Tarot. This one is the one that is very different for me than any other of the Hanged Mans, called the Mirror in this deck, actually. So when this comes in reverse, this tells me something a little bit different than right side up. This tells me that this person actually already knows what their strengths are. They know what they bring to the table as far as work or as far as relationship, either one. And what they're doing now is they are looking for either a work situation or a relationship situation where they can plug in their talents, their abilities, their strengths, and they know that it will be appreciated in a job situation or work situation, that somebody will be, or maybe lots of somebodies will be happy to pay them well for the skills and abilities that they have developed or at their disposal. And in a relationship, that they're looking for something where they know that the other person is going to appreciate them for what they bring to the table and not take it for granted or treat them badly or look down on them because they don't bring something else to the table, that they bring what they have to the table. So looking for that ideal relationship, looking for that ideal work situation, whether it's looking for what industry to start your business in or what company to go to work for. This card just basically says you already know your strengths, where if it was like this, you would still be trying to sort out what your strengths are that you bring to the table as you're looking for work and you plug yourself in. This is kind of the next step along the way. You've already figured out your strengths. Now you're just more focused on where would I be most appreciated with these strengths and abilities. Okay? So thank you guys very much for spending some of your time with me here tonight. I do appreciate it. I hope that you found this helpful. If you guys would like to schedule a reading with me, then you can see how to do that on my website. I will be happy to get to know each of you personally. And if you would like to schedule a mentoring session, I'll be happy to set that up too. That's not actually on my website. You'll have to contact me and we'll work out the details of that. But all my contact information is on my website. So if I don't see you here for a private session, then I will see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.